Welcome to the party. I'm Sam Ekstrom of Locked On Sports Minnesota. It is our Care 11 Spectacular, like we do every Wednesday, talking Minnesota Vikings for the next hour with our friends from Care 11. Reggie Wilson, Julia Daniels, Ron Johnson joins as well. We'll go around the horn in a second and find out what the crew wants to talk about. A reminder that we are available on the Locked On Sports Minnesota YouTube channel and the Locked On Vikings audio feed, where Luke Braun produces great daily Vikings content. Thanks for making us your first watch or listen today. We're going to get into some J.J. McCarthy real-life comps. We're going to look at first-round quarterbacks, how they've done in their second seasons, and I will pose the question to the crew, would you take that? Would you take those stats from those quarterbacks? Also, rumors about the Vikings playing in Ireland. They've got top 30 visitors at TCO, and in honor of Alexander Ovechkin, we'll get into some Vikings records that might or might not be untouchable. But let's go around the horn and meet today's crew. Reggie, kick it off.
Reggie Wilson, sports director at Care 11, and not too much gonna cause me to pick against J.J. McCarthy.
I'm Ron Johnson, former Gophers and NFL wide receiver, host of the Ron Johnson Show on Locked On Sports Minnesota, and I want to let you know the records are made to be broken.
I'm Julia Daniels, sports reporter at Care 11. I was in Florida all weekend, and I still saw Ovechkin jerseys.
Yeah, that really took over the sports world. That was kind of awesome. As a hockey enthusiast, I loved it. We're going to get into an adjacent topic around the Ovechkin record breaker a little later in the show, but we start here. We start with the guy that we're going to be talking about every day until the first of the year, or maybe the 1st of February next year. I don't know. He is going to steal all the headlines. His name is J.J. McCarthy. We're going to play a game. You guys like games? I like games. I like hosting games. I like having all the information, and you all know nothing, and I get to quiz you. I'm going to give you a stat line. You tell me if you take that or not from J.J. McCarthy this year. And then I will tell you who the stat line belongs to. Because we have these associations with quarterbacks, right? We have kind of a stereotype in our head about who that quarterback is. Well, I'm just going to give you the raw stats. Tell me if you take it. Here's the stat line. Reggie, you can start, and we'll go around the horn. Here's the line. 20 touchdowns. And let me clarify. These are second-year stats from first-round quarterbacks. So the same as J.J. McCarthy this year. 20 touchdowns, 12 picks, 3,700 yards, 10 wins. Would you take that?
Ooh. 10 wins? Sure.
How many picks did you say?
20 touchdowns, 12 picks, 3,700 yards, 10 wins. Reggie is waffling, but he'll take it. Ron?
Yep, I'll take it. No question.
Yeah.
He'll take the 10 wins. Julia?
Yeah, I'd take it. Wait, are we comparing this so you'd rather have that instead of J.J. McCarthy?
No, I'm asking if you would take that season from J.J. McCarthy this year. You'd be happy with that. Okay, you're not going to get greedy. You're taking it. You're taking it and running.
With no league experience? Yeah.
That stat line belongs to C.J. Stroud this past year. And I think that people expected a lot more from C.J. Stroud because of what he did his rookie year. We don't have that preconceived notion about J.J. McCarthy, but I think a lot of people would have said that it was a disappointing year from Stroud. But that was a medium line. I think that was actually a tricky one. Let me give you this. 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 4,100 yards, but only 9 wins. Ron, you taking that?
I don't want the 9 wins. No, I'm not taking that.
You're passing. You're saying nope. Move along. All right, Julia.
I'd take it.
Pretty good stats. 25, 8, 4,100. Reggie?
I'm talking strictly quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take it and just hope that they made it in as a wild card.
That is Trevor Lawrence in his second year. That's Trevor Lawrence. Number 1 overall pick. That's a lot of stats and not a lot of wins. But I think there's enough there just with the raw stats that I'm saying, okay, maybe they got injured. Maybe the defense collapsed. Like that, we can work with that.
Mhm.
Did they
going
make the
forward.
playoffs that year?
I think that was the year was that the year that they had the huge comeback in
Against the Chargers?
wild card round? It was either that year or the next year. I'd have to go back and check.
Because I will take that.
That's the thing about these blind stat lines. You just don't know. You don't know what the postseason held.
That's the fun in it.
Fine.
I know y'all are taking this one. 34 touchdowns, 14 picks, 4,600 yards, 10 wins. Julia, you want it?
Yeah.
Everyone wants it?
I'll take that.
That would be the Joe Burrow.
Oh.
That would be the
Ah,
Joe Burrow
yes.
Super Bowl.
And a Super Bowl, yeah.
Yep. And that, again, coming off a knee.
That would be
Coming off a
crazy.
knee injury.
That would be.
They would build a statue for JJ McCarthy if that happened.
4,600 would be a nice number. Okay. We're still gonna get trickier.
And that was the playoff year, by the way, Sam. Joe Burrow, 2022.
It was.
Yeah. Or Trevor Lawrence.
Lawrence.
Yeah, 2022.
Okay, so it's a playoff win as well. All right, 26 TDs, 12 picks, 3,900 yards, 800 rushing yards. That's pretty nice, but only 8 wins. Only 8 wins, Reggie. Are you taking that?
Dang, who is this? Lamar Jackson?
No.
Nah, I can't do that one.
You're passing. All right, Ron.
Give it to me. I like the future of that guy right there.
That's some serious mobility. Julia, break the tie.
Yeah, I was gonna say if JJ McCarthy can get that many yards in on the ground, well, I'm sure, absolutely.
That is a Mr. Kyler Murray.
Oh.
Kyler Murray in his second year.
I figured that'd be him or
Cat
Jalen Hurts. I
There's
couldn't
a
remember
bird.
which one did
There's
that.
a bird.
I don't think I think if you knew you were signing up for a Kyler career, you wouldn't sign up, but you would sign up for the mobility and the escapability, the arm talent. You just don't want Kyler Murray
The
necessarily.
Vikings, I think, are a better organization, anyways. So.
I wonder, would Kyler have better success if he was in like the Viking system? Because
Yeah,
he always starts off so well, and then it all just fizzles.
He'd be better if they stopped having Call of Duty upgrades online every time.
Oh, come on, Ron. Come on.
Always with the Call of Duty. It
He-
makes
he
sense.
meets
So
the
the injury,
allegations.
he had a thumb injury on the injury report. Too
Oh,
much Call of
man.
Duty at night.
Ron, tell me this similar one. Would you take this? 20 touchdowns only, 9 picks, 3,000 yards, 500 rushing yards, 10 wins. Would you take it?
Yeah, I like the mobility. Yeah.
Okay. And the 10 wins. That's a double-digit number. Julia.
Yeah, I'd take the 10 wins
Mm-hmm.
and say we can work with this.
Reg?
Yeah.
He's taking it. After mulling it
Sure,
over,
sure.
he's taken.
This is tough for me, you know.
It's a Josh Allen season. That's Josh Allen
Ooh.
Yeah.
in his second year. 20-9, 10 wins, 3,000 yards.
So that
all
means
right.
that JJ McCarthy's going to find a Haley Steinfeld in? Is that what we're talking about right now?
Ooh, he's already
Yeah,
he's already
promised
got
Haley
someone, doesn't he?
Steinfeld.
He's taken, Ron.
Yeah.
Who's he got?
He's engaged.
Isn't he
Oh.
getting married this summer?
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Off the market, ladies.
He might get a couple rings this year. Ooh.
Pretty sure if Haley Steinfeld hit him up, though, he's like, I'm in. Spider-Man? Spider-Verse? Let's go. All right.
You know, I saved the 2 juiciest for last. The catch here is who the line belongs to. All right, 24 touchdowns, 12 picks, 3,200 yards, 11 wins. Julia, you want that, right?
Yeah. 11 wins. Yeah.
You're taking that. Reggie
Give me that.
wants it all day. Ron, you love the 11 wins. You like 11 and 6.
I like the 11 wins. I think that's Jordan Love.
I would dare say it's even more dangerous than that. It's Mitch Trubisky.
Oh, my God.
Mitch Trubisky had a good second year. Literally had a good second year.
You got Trubisky.
That was it.
And
That
now
was
the worst scenario of all, I think.
Oh no.
33 touchdowns, 7 picks, 3,300 yards, an 11-2 record. But knee injury.
Oh, come on.
Oh, Carson. Was it Carson Wentz?
Yeah, that's Carson.
Yeah.
It's Carson. So the knee injury might come back great, and it might mess him up forever. You don't know.
He was so good, too.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Did you hear Bo? Bo wanted to answer.
What did he say?
I don't know if you can hear him.
He said meow.
Yeah. He's whining.
Sounds like a no. He doesn't want that.
You hear him?
He's agitated. He's agitated about the prospect.
He doesn't. The Carson Wentz, that hurt his feelings, too.
Yeah, he was like, no.
I remember those days. Carson Wentz was so good. Oh, my
Man,
goodness.
that was a great season.
The RPO, the running ability, the size. I mean, I think the tush push, they were thinking, oh, we got a tush push guy. And then he gets hurt. And then Nick Foles is born. So, hey.
Yeah, the other piece of that would be they won the Super Bowl that year.
They won the Super Bowl.
They won the Super Bowl.
That would have been Carson Wentz's Super Bowl, and he probably would have a great career if he had just stayed healthy.
Does that also mean that, that because the quarterback kind of is never the same, that they end up getting the next quarterback, who's Jalen Hurts, who wins another Super Bowl? Look at the trail there for Philadelphia. 2 Super Bowls, 2 generational quarterbacks. I think what's the lesson? What is the lesson we take from this? I think it's that there are a lot of quarterbacks with really good track records in their second year. I mean, and I didn't even give you some of the obvious ones, like Jared Goff was spectacular. Patrick Mahomes was spectacular. Justin Herbert they were so spectacular it wouldn't have even been a question. Like
Right.
there's so many great quarterbacks that have generated good second seasons. I would say it's more than 50% of first round QBs. So Reggie, punctuate it with this. Kevin O'Connell was speaking at the coaches meeting saying he doesn't really view JJ McCarthy as a rookie because he was in the building, he had the mental reps, and he had to learn so much. Do you agree with that assessment that he really isn't a rookie, even though he didn't have the on-field reps?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, just he had a pro year, even though it wasn't like a, something that was desired, if you will. And he didn't get a chance to put what he was learning mentally with the physical and go out there and do it. He's kind of getting a chance to do some of that stuff right now. I'm sure, he's a football sicko. That was confirmed from the moment that I met him. I'm sure he's like already applying things that he's learned with some of the stuff that he's doing with his off-season training right now. So I think, that allows him a little bit of a leg up. I do think that is still going to be some growing pains early as he's trying to marry what he's learned with what he can do out there on the field.
With his fiance that he's getting married to, we got a lot of marriage to deal with.
Exactly. So I think he can get there. But I do think that, he's not necessarily a rookie, if you will. Had a red shirt year, as Kevin O'Connell said, but there'll be some struggles early, and then I think he'll eventually find his footing and settle in a little bit. And I think too, just this is a league where, quarterbacks back in the day, they would sit and, bide their time, whatever. Like, guys are coming in and hitting the ground running. You mentioned CJ Stroud and all the expectations that we have for him in his second year. That's because he did ball out as a rookie so well. But even his first few games in Houston weren't all that great. He kind of settled in and he got better as the weeks went on. I think JJ McCarthy could do the same.
Mm-hmm. Ron, your thoughts?
Sorry, what was the question?
Do you view JJ McCarthy as less of a rookie because he had that year of mental reps, like Kevin O'Connell was saying at the coaches meetings?
Yeah, no, I think he's still a rookie. There's mental reps and then there's on-field play. The bullets are going to come. The one thing, though, mentally, he's not a rookie. Like, he knows everything Kevin O'Connell wants to say. He knows everything he's trying to get out of the plays. He knows everything that he's trying to understand with the route concepts. He understands the coverage looks. He understands the checks, the choice routes, all that stuff. But then there's still the live bullets. Until you actually grab a gun, empty the clip, you don't really know what that feels like. And so that's where he has to get to. He has to get to a clip emptying session. Could be game 1, could be game 2. I mean, think about Justin Jefferson, the original JJ in Minnesota. It was more, and the original JJ was dynamite. But when you think about Justin Jefferson, it took him a game. You know what I mean? You gotta understand that. Like, it's sometimes Stephon Diggs, it took him a couple games. Like, live reps are so much different from mental reps. And so that's why I think JJ McCarthy, mentally, he's gonna be there. Training camp, he'll be there, all that stuff. It's gonna be that. And then the knee, like training camp, OTAs, all that stuff, guys are gonna be told, stay away from my quarterback. Don't even get close to him, because I don't want his hand coming forward and hitting your helmet, all that stuff. Game is different. Guys want to kill you, take your head off. So preseason, we'll see how much he goes. That should help. And then, yeah, one of these clip emptying games where he throws 40 passes, then I think we'll be like, okay, he's ready. And that's what it's going to take. It's going to take that plus that first hit. But no, I still think he has a little bit of rookie in him when he gets on the field.
Yeah. And Julia, let me reframe it just a little bit, because we talked about some of the mobility, how awesome it would be if he had the ability to run for 500 yards, 800 yards. Wow, what a tool to have in your quarterback.
Yep.
You've also got the injury in the back of your mind. I think that J.J. McCarthy's instinct is going to be to scramble, to run for first downs. Do you think Kevin O'Connell is going to try and dial him back from that, become more of a pocket passer because of how valuable he is, because of that knee maybe not being absolutely 100%? Are they going to change the type of quarterback that he is because of that knee?
No, I don't think so. I think that they know what his strengths are, and they're going to play to those, and they're going to do what they can to make sure that he's trusting his knee as much as they trust him. And we kind of saw this when TJ Hawkinson got hurt too, because that's always the question everybody wants to ask when a guy comes back from an injury like that is there any hesitation when you're coming back from this kind of thing? And TJ was like, no, I'm done. And he said he'd done they do their own types of therapy, like mental therapy too, to make sure that they're not scared when they go out there and they can get back to the athlete that they were before. So granted, TJ didn't have like his greatest season ever, but I don't think that he was less aggressive in how he played. And I think that has to do with the way that they did rehab for him at TCO. But I do think, no, I don't think that Kevin O'Connell is going to try and change the kind of quarterback that J.J. McCarthy is. Now, if he sees that something's, not working, for sure they'll workshop that. But I don't think he's going to try and change how J.J. McCarthy does things. I think he's such a great quarterback whisperer that he finds the strengths in guys and he knows what their best talents are, and he's able to play off of those, kind of like Brian Flores does with the defense too. But going back to the question of like, is this a rookie? I would argue, yeah, it is like a rookie season for him, because it's more than just like, you always hear guys say like, what's your welcome to the league moment? He's yet to have that. And also, I think that's something that like I always hear guys talk about, and it's different when you're moving from college into the pros, is JJ still has to figure out like how his schedule is going to work and what his routine is going to be. He didn't really get to do any of that this year because he was hurt. So he has to figure out like, how am I feeling after a game? What's hurting? How do I fix this? How do I recover well? What's going to be my strict routine? And he hasn't done any of that yet. And I think that is something that I've talked to guys about, where that's like a major thing that they have to figure out their rookie season, because it's different than college football is, and you're in a different facility. So I think that there's still a lot of unknowns for J.J. McCarthy that he still has to figure out. And that's why I would say, yeah, this is going to be more like a rookie season than it is going to be like a sophomore season.
Yeah, great stuff, Julia. When we come back, I will speak in an Irish accent. Plus, the Vikings have visitors at TCO. That's next. We are brought to you today by FanDuel Sportsbook. The NBA playoffs are almost here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in the action. New customers can join FanDuel, and after placing their first $5 bet, you get $250 in bonus bets if that bet wins. Bet 5, win the 5, get $250 in bonus bets at FanDuel. T-Wolves last night, a significant collapse. I would love to know what the live money line was on the Bucks, if they even made it available. Sometimes they just straight take that line down when it's a 24-point lead. That was not pretty, but you can bet live at FanDuel, same game live parlay, all the NBA playoff futures, who's going to win the championship, who's going to win the awards, All of it's available at FanDuel.com. Lots of props, lots of futures, lots of live wagering. Head to FanDuel.com. Claim your $250 in bonus bets today, just in time for the NBA playoffs. All right, back Minnesota football party. Again, we'll do this tomorrow with Arif Hassan, Luke Braun, Luke Inman, Ron Johnson. We have it Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. It's all available on the Locked On Vikings audio feed. Rumor right now, and usually the international games get announced first. The Vikings could be playing in Ireland, and head coach Kevin O'Connell going to Ireland, and playing. I think that was like a northern Minnesota accent, actually.
Don't
Kevin,
you know?
all blends together. All blends together. Kevin O'Connell going back to the homeland to coach in Ireland, maybe against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me ask you this, Ron. Do you have any Europe fatigue with that'd be 3 out of 4 years the Vikings have played there? Is there a little oversaturation, or would you be fired up for the Vikings to go to Ireland and play a football game?
I don't mind. It just depends on the time. Like when it's super early, that means we got to be up at like 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. or something. So I'm more worried about the time than anything. That's selfish. I know. Sorry, people. I'm a selfish person when it comes to my mornings. But and then post game and all that, like a random like noon post game show is so stupid. But I do think from an international standpoint, like we're very selfish with our game. And if they do want to grow it globally, because you see the NBA and all their global success and all that stuff, I think that there's a key to it. I just think they need to find the NFLPA, I know, is looking into this, according to an agent I talked to, but the travel plus the rest. So how do they structure it? So like, do you play like a Thursday game? You get that whole like extra 3 or 4 days off. You then travel maybe on like that Sunday or that Tuesday or Monday. Then you get your normal week in Ireland. And then when you come back, you get your bye. So now you're kind of getting like a double bye. Like, so it's not like play Sunday, get on a plane Tuesday to go to Ireland. They got to find a way to get these guys extra rest. Same with the Thursday night football idea of giving them an extra bye week. I mean, there's nothing really going on. If college football can play into February now, I don't see why the NFL can't figure out ways to get these guys more rest. It's not like the fans won't take it. Like you can give teams double rest, and we will just take extra weeks of football. Like I don't understand. And I think the owners are looking at that too, because again, that's more money for them. Instead of all 16 games in 1 week, just keep it to like 12 games. Keep it to 12 to 11 games. You're giving teams extra rest with these international games. That's the only thing I have for it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're adding an additional game, an 18th game, which could happen, and an extra bye, there's 2 more weeks of football. You just increased your revenue by over 10%, and the revenue's in the billions. Like that's a huge number. But in terms of Europe, Julia, would you be into the Ireland idea?
I'd be into it if they would send us.
So, do you think your sports director would be generous enough with the budget to make that happen?
Reggie 100% would send us, but
let's go.
Up to the other people.
Yeah, we don't have a separate budget just for sports. We're in the big pot with everybody else.
Yeah. Reggie would 100% send all of us if he had the choice.
Oh yeah, we go everywhere.
Yeah, we'd be everywhere.
We go for broke, baby.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be Reggie going.
I would love it. Honestly, I just a fan of life and football in general. I like this because especially when you're covering the Vikings, because the Vikings have such an international fan base too, especially when it comes to these Western European countries. So I think they always have good turnout. The stories that come out of these games with Vikings fans and like discovering how they became Vikings fans when they live in Ireland or Germany, or these random places that they go. And I love that side of it. I love also the content that you get out of these teams when it comes to just being over there and kind of seeing these guys. A lot of these athletes haven't been to a place like Ireland before. So it's always fun to see those storylines when they get over there. Also, I just think these incredible stadiums that they play in it's just so cool to see football played there. But I do think, it's always an interesting time whenever they're going abroad to play because their sleep schedule is so interesting. And then our whole week ends up being thrown off because the Vikings are changing their thing around. Rightfully so. They're changing their timing around for things, but it is always an interesting time. It's always an interesting game when the Vikings are playing abroad too. So I don't know. I'm a big fan. I think it's cool. I think it's a fun little switch up in the season, and you get, some cool content out of it too, just because I also love that part of the game too.
Yeah,
Is Ireland kilts? Do they wear kilts in Ireland?
No, that's Scotland.
More of a Scotland thing.
Okay. Ireland is the beer then, right?
Guinness,
Yeah,
Irish whiskey, Bushmills, Jameson, countless others.
Like a good Jameson. Nice 18-year-old Jameson. It's a good one.
Ooh, well aged. So for the exact opposite of Ron, I love morning football. I don't have the responsibilities that Ron does. I like rolling out of bed and turning on the Vikings, having the game be done by noon, being able to freely watch the other games or go about my day in whatever way I choose. I think that's great. So I would sign up for that every week. Here's what I don't like about Ireland games, more practically. When you open up your league to other venues, you are risking, you don't know what kind of field you're going to get.
Yep.
We saw this in Brazil, right, this past year, where the field conditions were terrible. And if you're opening up a new venue in Ireland, I know college football did this. Maybe they tested the waters a little bit. They played a game in Ireland. I think it was Nebraska and Northwestern. Like if you have a situation where Lewis Seen, for instance, in 22, he gets hurt. I'm not saying it was turf related, but he gets hurt badly. And I don't think he could come home with the team. I think he was stuck there. I think he had to stay in Europe. So with the questionable turf and the injury potential, that's part of the reason I don't necessarily love this becoming such a regular thing. Not only does it mess with your schedule, the Vikings lost their next 2 games after Europe this past year. Not saying it would happen like that every year, but I'm probably a little more negative on it than most. Granted, Ireland would be awesome. I mean, Ireland just alone, I think would bring out some awesome fans. They'd be super into it. A lot of Vikings fans. It becomes kind of a home game in a different continent. So it's fun. I get it. I think there's some downsides as well. Reggie, where do you stand? He's muted.
Yeah, the only tough part I feel like for fans is that they lose a home game and, a game that they could have been at the bank enjoying, now they can watch on TV or spend the however much money that is going to take to get over to wherever the game is. If it's Ireland, now you're trying to do that to get over there. Could be a nice international trip, make a vacation out of it, but not everyone has the luxury to be able to do something like that. So I think that's the only tough part from a fan perspective. Is it's like, yeah, you lose a game that you could have been, inside the bank cheering for. And all of these international games end up being pretty good. Like, last year we kind of ran down the Vikings in London and their history there, and they've all been great games. And so, you kind of deprive the fans of being able to see something like that in person here in Minnesota. But I think, the Vikings, doesn't really matter, or doesn't really seem to matter who the coach is. They just seem to, when you're over there, it's a business trip. Yeah, you might have a little bit of fun just because you're in a new country and all that stuff. But I think they treat it like a business trip, and it's a very serious thing for them. And they go over there and handle business. So I think, there's 2 sides to the fan argument. One side is like, oh yeah, we know that we're going to see some good football from the Vikings when they go over there. But also it's like, dang, kind of wish they were here at home so we could go.
I'm seeing an Aer Lingus flight, nonstop,
here you go.
round trip. It's only $633, Reggie. You could send Julia for $633.
They're going to say, hey, Reggie, you got an option. You can send you or you can send Julia. Reggie's going to say, Julia, they didn't have enough in the budget for you. That's what's going to happen.
I want to see like man on the street, Reggie with a Care 11 microphone, just asking Irish people football questions.
That would be fun.
Minnesota questions. Like
the best
quizzing
one
them on-
still is showing people the logos of teams and having
Yeah.
them guess what team that is. Like those are still the funniest. That and then when they had the Mexican guy that has his Spanish speaking family try to say the team names. And have you seen that one?
Is that like Jimmy Kimmel or
No, it's a social media guy. He has a huge following for like sports. It's just a sport. It's just like they try to say the team names, but they pronounce it different. So it is hilarious. Like it is the funniest thing. Like instead of Minnesota Vikings, like the way they say it, it's hilarious. You got to see it.
That content, Reggie, would pay for the trip. I mean, the
I think
views that
so.
you would get care11.com.
Do you want to make
Plus.
the? Oh yeah. Do you want to?
But Julia's got to man the desk though.
The
They
argument.
want Julia to man the desk.
You guys don't want me running around Ireland bothering everybody?
I think that'd be good too.
Yeah.
Do you have Irish blood, Julia? Is there any Irish
sure.
background?
I'm sure somewhere.
Yeah.
Skull.
Yeah.
I'm an 1/8 Irish.
I have a lot of Nordic.
Yeah.
I'm like 1% Greek.
Nice. Is McCarthy an Irish name? McCarthy. That sounds Irish to me. Or maybe it's British.
Could
I don't know. There were a bunch of visitors at TCO, college football players coming to check it out. Vikings checking them out, having dinner, treating them well, putting them up in the Omni.
Yes, it is an Irish name. Sorry.
Yeah, anything with an MC to start. I sent you guys the list of the reported top 30 visitors. Did any names pop out to you? These aren't necessarily big names either. These aren't first round picks. I like the running back, Brashard Smith, because he used to be a receiver. Used to be a slot receiver at Miami, and then he transferred to SMU for his final year and rushed for 1,300 yards. Catch the ball. He can run the ball. He's also a kick return candidate, and I think the kick return is suddenly going to get very important with the touchback going to the 35-yard line. So I am into Brashard Smith, like a 5th-round draft pick. He can become your third back, maybe a special teamer behind Mason and Aaron Jones. That was my favorite top 30 visitor. Reggie, what stood out to you? Anybody?
So I liked Silas Bolden, I should say.
Yes.
5'8", 160, okay? But I think what the Vikings kind of missed last year is someone who was dynamic in the punt and the kick return game. I said it last year, and Julia knows this. Brandon Powell, like for all that he was sure-handed and reliable. Like he was never gonna muff many punts, if any at all. He was always going to make sure that he did the right thing in those special team situations. But it's so funny. The one thing that I remember is the Brandon Powell punt return for a touchdown when he was with the Rams at the bank against the Vikings. And they signed him, and I'm like, oh man, they got somebody who could do that. And we didn't really see that from Brandon Powell. Now we did see some heroics down in Atlanta with him and Josh Dobbs. Not this past season, but the one before in his hometown in Atlanta. But we didn't see anything from him dynamic in the punt and the kick return game. And we really haven't seen much since Kevin O'Connell has been there. Maybe, give or take a play or two, before. But I just think getting someone like Silas Bolden who could be a special teams ace, maybe flip the field on punt returns, that could be something that could be intriguing and low cost.
Looks like he took one to the house in the college football playoff. I'm watching it right now. There's
Exactly.
the catch. Splits tacklers to the 40, to the 50, across midfield.
Yes.
Scurries through Arizona State tacklers and gone. That was fun. That was me watching it in real time. I'm trying to find his 40. I bet his 40.
Yeah, I couldn't find that 40.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if he didn't run, if he had an injury, trying to find his pro day. I'll look into that. But Julia, any names that stood out to you?
I mean, I was kind of looking at the positions too. Obviously, we talked about how they're kind of in need of depth at tight end. So I was looking at those two guys. Neither one's like super awesome or like crazy good or anything like that. But I was looking at this Ben Urasek kid. I think that kids that come out of places like Georgia usually have an easier time transitioning into the league because they're already doing things that are so much like pro football. So that's always an advantage when you pick up a guy like that. Also, 245 pounds. It just is going to, I mean, when it comes to tight end and who they end up picking, I know that like Josh Oliver, he was like a blocking tight end before he came to the Vikings, and then they started utilizing him a little bit more, catching some balls, especially when TJ went down. And so it's going to depend on the production they get out of TJ Hawkinson too, because this guy could probably block pretty well. So I think that could be a good pickup for them. I think he's going to have to put on some muscle. I think that's something that they talked about. His base strength isn't very great, but I mean, tight ends are always, I feel like, unless they're spectacular, kind of listed as people that would be bottom roster practice squad guys. But he's a big guy for the most part. I think that tight end is something that I'm just kind of looking at just because of where the Vikings roster sits right now. But he could be I feel like picking a Georgia tight end wouldn't be a bad option.
They need depth there for sure. So we've all listed offensive players. Ron, who do you have?
I got a couple names. One name that did not make the visit that I want to continue to make sure we keep an eye on is McCarthy Page out of the University of Michigan. I know the Vikings have reached out to him. They have spoken to him on the phone. And so they talked about his pro day, ran 4.4, his pro day 6'3". I think he measured 6'3.5", like 217 pounds. So that's a safety, box safety option that can play the back end, has the speed. But one of the guys took a visit, Zion Childress out of Kentucky. Now, this guy's a fifth-year guy. He was at Texas State for 2 years. But the thing about him, one, his nickname is Champ. So Champ Childress, I like that. And my other cousin, so Macari's cousin, who is my cousin, but is his cousin through marriage, he's at Kentucky. And he's one of our cousins down the family tree. Like, I don't know if it's second cousin, how that works, but like our cousins, like they had kids. So he's at Kentucky as well. And he said Zion, because I see the posts about Kentucky from a Takari. So I started like trying to figure out, I'm like, oh, Harrison, that's our cousin. And so the other guy, Zion Childress. And if you watch him play, where's number 11? He plays like Antoine Winfield. He's in the box. He goes after the quarterback. He sacks through the A gap, B gap, C gap guy. He fills the lanes in every bubble screen. He's a 2-year captain at Kentucky. And that's being a transfer. So after you transfer in, a lot of times you don't know how to connect with the team. He transferred in, and within a year, he became a 2-time captain. He was on the Reese Senior Bowl watch list. And they say, other than ball hawk, they say he's caring. He's a community guy. And the other thing, he's smart and he's passionate. So that was kind of all the adjectives used about him. And he's 6 foot. So that's the other thing too. He has size. He's not one of those small Antoine Winfield guys, even though Antoine Winfield's the highest paid safety. So let's not forget that. But he's 6 foot tall. So that's another one. Another one that didn't take a visit, but I know the Vikings talked to him because I was there. Ethan Robinson out of the University of Minnesota. He's a safety, a corner. So he plays corner, but can't play safety. He played it at Bucknell. And I know that's another name that could be either a late round draft pick or a free agent if nobody drafts him, but he had a 42-inch vertical.
Yeah, Ron, I like it. Loading up on the secondary there. McCarthy Page, I see a little Josh Metellus there. Michigan, safety, plays in the box. He can play all over the field. I like that.
And if you watch the Ohio State game, he's the one that made the hit that gave that guy the concussion that changed the game. Like he hit, I forgot which receiver he hit, but he came downhill, knocked him out, ball fumbled loose. That kind of changed that game for Michigan to be able to actually beat Ohio State again.
6'3.5". That's some serious size. We'll pause and then return with our Alexander Ovechkin adjacent conversation. What are some Vikings records that are either untouchable or will be broken sometime in the future? That's next, the Minnesota Football Party. This episode is brought to you by Chewy. You probably heard of it. They have everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy, whether it's food, treats, or healthcare. Chewy makes it fast, easy, and affordable. They've got over 100,000 products from all your favorite brands. Everything you need. Dog beds, grooming services, cat supplies for Julia's cat, supplies for birds, fish, reptiles, other small pets. They make it easy also to manage your pet's health with prescriptions, telehealth vet visits, and even in-person vet clinics rolling out nationwide. AutoShip is a game changer. You set up automatic deliveries for food, treats, and other essentials. Extremely easy, and you can cancel at any time. Chewy has everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy. Right now, you can save $20 on your first order. Get free shipping by going to chewy.com or clicking the link in the description. Save $20 off your first order with free shipping by clicking the link in the description down below. Minimum purchase required. New customers only. Terms and conditions apply. See site for complete details. All right, so Julia's down in Florida. She's watching on TV. She's watching as Alexander Ovechkin comes up with goal 895. Now, everyone said this was an untouchable record. Nobody would ever break it. And here comes Ovi. He's probably going to exceed 900. He might even get to 1,000 with the way he's playing. Got me thinking, what are some Vikings records that are untouchable? I sent you the link to the team records. Julia, you want to take the first crack at this? Vikings records that might be broken someday or will never be broken someday.
Okay, I'm going to go obvious here, right? But someone has to say it. We can't not talk about it. I'm going to go career receiving yards. Just the fact that Justin Jefferson is at where he's at, over 7,400 in 4 seasons. And Chris Carter holds the record with over 12,000. I think that Justin Jefferson's well on his way to breaking that record. So I had to go the obvious route here, but where he's sitting right now, because everyone else has, and Chris Carter's is in 11 years. So
Jefferson has 7,400 in 5, and he's only 5,000 behind. So that's if he stays healthy.
Yeah,
that's probably 4 years. That's probably 4 years, maybe 5 years. That's very realistic that he could still be here in 5 years.
And if he has a quarterback that's dynamic,
correct, that would help. Yeah, no, I think that's definitely attainable. Longevity is everything, right? There's a lot of players that could come along and break these records if they stuck around. The question is, can you keep them around? And Jefferson's someone that you would. We can circle back to if you have another one, Julia. But Reggie, give us one.
Okay, so I was doing the math and crunching some numbers here. How about JJ McCarthy passing Fran Tarkenton 33,000 yards, 239 touchdowns? If McCarthy stayed healthy and he played 12 years, that's like 2,700 yards, close to 20 touchdowns a season. Like, that is certainly attainable. You would think that that's attainable in a Kevin O'Connell offense. I think if he could keep that clip, and that's being conservative.
Yes.
I think that record could be broken by JJ McCarthy. And then this is a double whammy too. If that happens, I could see Kevin O'Connell getting up there with Bud. But I don't want to steal Ron's thunder. So I don't know, because I don't know where he's going yet. So
I like them both. And one note on the passing thing. So the record's 33,000 and change for Fran's yards. Let's just think of Kirk Cousins. He started as a starter. So he sat for 3 years, right? 2015, he became a starter for Washington. It only took Kirk 8 years to exceed 33,000 yards.
See, I was being really conservative with JJ.
So you need 8 JJ years. He's only 22. That's like just been through a second contract, and he could have the record if he stays healthy. That was mine, Reggie. I like that a lot.
Okay.
Ron,
okay.
Yeah, I like it. Ron, what do you got? Muted.
Sorry. Here we go. Kick return, punt return. Cordell Patterson and Marcus Sherrills. Those are not getting broken. And the reason is just because of the way the kickoff has changed. Like Cordell Patterson and Marcus Sherrills both have been there for a while. Cordell Patterson more so having, some 109-yard returns, some 100-yard returns. I just don't see those getting broken. The kickoff has been completely taken out of the game now. Maybe it'll go back, but I don't see those being broken. Broken is going to be Justin Jefferson, Chris Carter. I think, he's going to get up there. Another one, Adrian Peterson, I don't think that's getting broken either, rush yards. But yeah, Justin Jefferson, I think is going to pass Chris Carter if he stays a Viking. I don't see why he wouldn't. He signed a 5-year deal. So could he get 1,500 yards every season for the next 5 years? I think so.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right on that. The kick return record is 5, Patterson and Harvin. The punt return record is 5, Marcus Sherrills. The punt return's probably more the same as what it used to be than the kick return is. I think maybe you get someone who comes along that can break that punt return record, but how often do you have the same punt returner for a decade?
Yeah.
That's what they had with Marcus Sherrills, which was so unheard of. I think that Ron nailed it with Adrian Peterson as well. Peterson's record, 11,747 yards over 10 years. Having a running back for 10 years is pretty rare. Having a running back for 10 years that gets 1,000 yards per year or more is pretty rare. I don't know who's touching that. I really don't. I mean, that's going to be hard.
In today's age?
In today's age, the game has changed. I don't see that for one team. Maybe for a career, certainly. For one team, I don't know if that happens. Reggie, do you have any number crunching on the Kevin O'Connell, Bud Grant pursuit? Because that's an interesting one.
I do not. But 158
on his current pace, he's on a good current pace.
Yeah.
Put it that way. 14 wins, 13 wins, I think 7. Extrapolate that out, and he's young, right? He's not 40 yet. If he were the coach for a Mike Tomlin amount of time, like 20 years, 25 years, I think he's a shoo-in.
Yeah, 15 years, he'd need 10.5 wins over a 15-year span to do what he has to do what he needs to do. He's got 2 13+ win seasons under his belt. Not saying that that's going to be something that he consistently does, because I think that might be holding him to too high a standard. But I think, if he can get 9 or 10 wins over the next 15 years or so, he'd get Bud.
I would hope that Kevin O'Connell has built enough equity with his personality, with his culture, that the Wilfs would allow him to see the Vikings through a hard time rather than make the move right away at the first sign of trouble. You're out of here. So many teams do that. I would hope that they let him endure through a down time and see the team into another generation. That's what I hope they have in Kevin O'Connell, and I think they might. I think this might be the kind of coach that you stick with even as times are tough, if circumstances are tough. It's hard to imagine him losing the locker room. That would be really surprising to me if they just bailed on Kevin O'Connell. I don't think he has that. He's not volatile. He's not unstable. He's not like real angry person by nature. So I think 15 years down the road, let's keep an eye on that.
It is
Vince record.
It's kind of hard to think about them kind of going through any type of a down stretch either. Like, you look at Mike Tomlin, and that's something that's different. You don't see that, but no losing seasons in all his years in Pittsburgh. I mean, I could kind of see it, even the season before this past one, with all the quarterback woes, like they were still alive in the playoff discussion down to the last like 2-3 weeks of the season. So you think that he keeps a team competitive because he kind of has the right juice, if you will. I could see him having a sustained successful run over 15+ years. Maybe they don't have the down years that you're talking about, Sam.
Well, you know what gets coaches in trouble now are these big quarterback moves that don't work out. Russell Wilson in Denver was the end of Nathaniel Hackett. Deshaun Watson, I guess Kevin Stefanski has survived somehow through the Deshaun Watson saga in Cleveland. A lot of coaches wouldn't. And somehow Brian Dable has survived with Daniel Jones. So maybe it's not the death knell that I'm thinking it is, but when you make big moves at quarterback that fail, that's when you lose jobs as a head coach. And I think the clock kind of restarts with Kevin O'Connell now that he's got J.J. McCarthy in the building. Looking forward to that. Ron, I wanted to give a plug to the Tyler Nubin interview yesterday. What'd you like about hanging out with former Gopher, current Giant, Tyler Nubin?
Talking about Sierra, him being a Sierra fan at his age, you don't know what the kids listen to, but he's a Sierra fan. So looking forward to Russell Wilson and then the Jameis Winston. He talked about the viral Jameis Winston moment. So he's looking forward to, that coming to New York and, being able to practice with those guys. And then, his whole conversation about, the mental health side with Rachel Baribeau. I think that was huge because, a lot of people don't talk about the mental health side of football and how stressful, how much goes into it, the brain injuries. And he's a bruiser. He's a guy that comes downhill and willing to deliver a blow. So he's a guy that has to keep that in mind. So I'm glad that he's on top of that. Another random moment, though. I don't know if you guys saw this. Have you guys seen the new Ja Morant? Speaking of basketball, because you're talking about the Nuggets. Have you seen the new Ja Morant celebration?
The grenade?
Yes. That's the funniest thing ever. Like Adam Silver, no more finger guns. Okay, I got one for you. And he's throwing grenades in the crowd. That dude is hilarious. That's funny. I don't care what nobody says. You don't got to like him. That's funny. Dude said, I can't do finger guns. I'm going to throw a grenade at your crowd.
Wolves play him on Thursday, so we'll be counting the grenades thrown. Hopefully not too many against the Wolves, but
the next time he needs to throw it and then do this. Like that even adds to it. Like throw the grenade and then cover. Like, and if the whole team did it, oh my God, that would just go ahead and have team celebrations on threes, and like the whole bench, he throws a grenade and the whole bench like curls up. Oh man, just go ahead and do it.
Julia, Wolves game coming up on Care 11. What else is coming up at Care?
Well, every Wednesday, remember, guys, we have our Care 11 Sports Plus show that Reggie and I do where we talk about all things happening in the sports world. So that's super exciting. We love our show. It's always a good time with Reg and I. We're getting a lot more streaming going. Also on Sundays, Will and I do a thing called Sports and Yap where we talk about sports, but we also just yap about things that are happening in pop culture and the world in general, because usually Will has no clue what's going on and he lives in his own little world. So if you ever were wondering about a pop culture reference or something that was trending on social media, I usually know what's going on and then I explain it to Will. So if you're ever wondering what's happening there, you can check out our Sports and Yap. And then also Reggie's going to the draft. So that's exciting. He and JT will be there covering all of that. And one last bit of personal news. I became an aunt on Monday morning. So
congratulations.
What you do.
Congrats. That is awesome. Props to you. Healthy kid. Healthy everybody.
Healthy everybody.
Awesome.
Yes.
Love it.
Great to hear. That's Julia Daniels, Reggie Wilson as well, Care 11 Sports Director, Ron Johnson, The Ron Johnson Show. And I'm Sam Ekstrom. It is our Wednesday Care 11 Spectacular, the Minnesota Football Party. We're back tomorrow with Arif, Luke, and Luke. Until then, signing off.